New England Patriots are apparently allergic to rain.
I don't know
I
how that's
have
possible.
they lose to the Raiders 13-20, and they looked sloppy. Drake Maye sailed some passes. There was a sequence at the end of the game where the Patriots were down 10, under 5 minutes to go. Fourth down, or so what happened here? Will Campbell gives up a sack. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Will Campbell gives up a sack with chip help on the outside. Okay, gets strip sacked. Boom, turns into a 3rd and 20. Drake Maye checks it down. Travion Henderson, I think he gets to a 4th and 5. Will Campbell false starts, becomes 4th and 10. So it's under 5 minutes to go. They're down 10. So time is everything here. So you've got to kind of go for it. You're at midfield. That's what I thought. I don't even need to look up the next gen stat stuff. And then Vrabel punts. Like he tilts and punts and like an angry poker player and just punts it. And then that's basically giving up on the game to me. And I just thought they had sloppy moments on offense and just throughout. Gave up plenty of pressures and everything. I thought the defense looked okay, actually, but it was more of a compliment maybe to the Raiders and some of the stuff they were doing. But I didn't think that either of these sides were super powered. And I just, overall sloppy. Drake Maye went 30 for 46. He got sacked 4 times. Success rate is 45%. He was fine. But the run game, 5 of 14 successful runs. And I know Rome's not built in a day, but I don't know. That was kind of a sour taste in my mouth for the Patriots. And, congrats to the Raiders. I thought this would be an interesting game either way. But are you with me on that one? I thought the Patriots kind of very blah today.
Yeah, wasn't a great game for them on either side of the ball. I mean, Geno had a great game today. If you just start looking at the numbers, 0.23 EPA per dropback, 52.6% success rate on the day. On throws of 10 yards down the field, he was 9 for 15 for 219 yards, a touchdown and pick. 40% conversion rate on 3rd down dropbacks, and a 26.3 explosive pass rate today. I mean,
that's great.
That's why you traded for him. So that's exactly why you traded for him. And this even with the Patriots, he was under pressure on 30% of his dropbacks, which this tracks from what was happening in Seattle, where he can stay
that's
calm
a
under
good
pressure
day for
and he's
him.
still going to fire. Right. That's a good day, so he's so good, man. He's so good. And it's just cool to see him even in a new team, a new opportunity, still play the same exact way and still have some good results. And hopefully, they can get a little bit more out of the running game next time so that they can actually, punch it into the end zone a little bit more. Because I think when you're looking at, 0.23 EPA per dropback and 52% success rate, you probably would imagine you would score more than 20 points. But I think this is a good first start for the Raiders of Chip Kelly and Geno Smith, but still some things to work on too.
I mean, if you told me your top 10 running back that you took had 19 carries for 38 yards, a long of 9 yards, I'd be like, oof, probably a rough showing from this offense. And actually, I felt pretty good about where this offense was after the game because of Geno. You're exactly right. I mean, he's going to take some sacks, but he's just going to stand in there and rip throws. That's what he does. It's one of the most fun players to watch at any position in the sport. I thought the Trey Tucker TD was cool. And that was a design that really was like, oh, this offense could, it's Chip Kelly. We thought it would be some interesting stuff. He had Brock Bowers as the isolated receiver on that. They were in 2 tight end looks. So I thought that was interesting. And so I looked it up. Brock Bowers had 7 snaps out wide. He had 1 catch for 23 yards, 3 targets. But I think we'll see a little bit more of that. Ashton Genty had the hard run for the TD, even if it wasn't a productive day. Yeah. But holy crap, Bowers was on fire. Geno was ripping throws. That last throw was awesome. That I also meant to bring that up as kind of a compliment to the Raiders and a diss to the Patriots. The 3rd and 20, 3rd and ball game, basically, after that whole sequence I mentioned where Vrabel, surrender punted. 3rd and 20, backed up, or, inside their own 20, somewhere inside their own 30. They send the house. The Patriots sent the house on 3rd and 20. All they want to do is catch and tackle, and then you get the ball back. Like that, you need the ball. And then Geno just drifts because he knows he's getting heated up and just throws the dagger. So it was like, again, that's why you trade for Geno Smith. And I'm just like, what are you doing, Mike Vrabel? Stop worrying about rats and start worrying about game and clock management. Moving on.
I got one last thing on the Raiders. One last thing on the Raiders.
Go for it.
One thing to monitor for this Raiders run game, I think, if you're a little nervous about it, Ashton Genty today, minus 0.26 yards before contact per rush. He still had 2.26 after. And then also Zamir White today had minus 0.3 yards before contact per rush. So the 2 main running backs were getting hit in the backfield a lot and having to power through that stuff. So maybe, still need some personnel improvements up front for this Raiders team.
I think it's one of these things that's funny in a way. Usually you feel like the run game is ahead of maybe some of the pass game because that requires so much more. But you get a guy like Geno that can just kind of get dropped in and just roll. And so it's like the run game actually needs more work. They're working the offensive line, JPJ's at guard. So no, I'm right there with you. I think that's going to come along, but it's never going to be great because their offensive line talent's not outstanding. But no, that's a good stat to throw in there. I'm not worried about Genty because I just watched that touchdown run where he bullied through like 3 guys. So
not worried about him.
We asked the chat, are you concerned about Drake Maye? It was kind of split on the worried or not. We got concern level, I should say. Mostly 2, some 1s. Some 3s, and some 4s only at 7%. So 2 was the highest vote from the chat right now. I'm not concerned about Drake Maye. He had some sailed passes in the rain. He doesn't have big hands. It's always surprising. Sailed passes in the rain, but man, I thought he had some great throws. He had a back shoulder on a seam to Hunter Henry. That was like, oh yeah. I thought he was just kind of maybe being a little cute, trying to throw early a bunch of times in the rain as opposed to maybe seeing it and throwing it. That's why it's tough to throw in the rain. All right. Low number 2, Charles. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one because this was your fastball and I couldn't wait to see you pitch this one. But it was the Jaguars and the Panthers game. What was your low from this game?
Everything like Panthers related. It was all bad except for Ted McMillan, basically. And J.C. Horn had an absolutely insane interception on a Trevor Lawrence pass that was a little underthrown. We leapt up with one hand, and I was like, okay, I guess paying JC made sense. But just outside of those guys and maybe a couple others, just about everyone struggled today. This game had a lightning delay, and maybe thought the Panthers played a little better when they get out. No, it just kind of turned to a fart fest in the second half. And man, like Bryce Young for the improvements he made at the end of last season, this game kind of looked more like the start of his career, his rookie year, and then the first few games of last season before he was benched for Andy Dalton. He had -10, almost basically -11 EPA on all of his dropbacks today. Averaged 4.5 yards per dropback. I mean, it was really, really bad. The interception he threw on the rollout was brutal. Then another bad one to end the game. So yeah, that can't happen. I mean, a dropback success rate of 35%. You just traded for Ted McMillan. He looks like he's the goods. Just it's got to be better because this isn't even like a stalwart defense. This defense is just kind of like they got some guys, but it's probably just gonna be like okay for them throughout the season. So that's pretty discouraging, I think, to see how poorly they played as a whole on offense. And the defense wasn't even that much better. I mean, at the end of the game, they're giving up explosive to ETN. Trevor Lawrence is scrambling, so that was really, really bad start for the Panthers that we're looking to improve and maybe make a play for the NFC South this year.
You're hoping that the season kind of like builds up for the Panthers. Like, it's such a younger team and everything. But with Bryce Young, it was like a rookie performance. It was like you said, it was like how the early performances were. It looked like the worst stats than Desmond Ridder, Bryce Young. Yeah. You mentioned they had 4.5 yards per rush, which is like, this run game we like. We think it's going to be good. But they somehow ended with 4.2 yards per play because, like you said, they only averaged 4.1 net yards per pass. You said the dropbacks, but I thought you invested in the receiver room and you liked where Bryce Young was at to complement the run game that you had built up, especially last year with Chuba Hubbard. And it was just like, I mean, it felt empty. He had a 4th down throwaway in the red zone. That was baffling because you got to give your guys a chance on 4th down in the red zone. That was weird. The bootleg interception was pretty discouraging to me because Bryce is supposed to be he's supposed to be very smart and a supreme operator. Like if maybe he doesn't get you the high end play. This is the argument about Bryce Young. Doesn't get you the high end plays, but he doesn't do all the damning stuff. Like he's not going to make mistakes. So he keeps you in a lot of games. The Alex Smith, the argument or at quarterback. You can't throw bootlegs on interceptions on bootlegs, especially obvious ones like that. That are just because bootlegs are the safest plays for quarterbacks. You're supposed to just throw it away. Anything's crowded, throw it away. You don't throw interceptions. You don't take sacks. You don't throw interceptions on those in theory. And then he also had the one to Andrew Wingard that got called back. I think it was like defensive holding or something, but that one was like a bad interception as well. He was falling down and threw it right to him. I was very discouraged. I've never been super high on Bryce Young, but I thought there was a viability here. There's a long season to go, But man, I was just that was rough. That was really rough. I thought he was just not making smart decisions on top of everything. And I mean, he had some nice chemistry moments with McMillan, and that's going to be really nice this year. But all the non-McMillan stuff was, yeah. And I was not very, I did not come away very enthused by that. And something that I actually had some bullishness about. So, but if you do want bullishness, McMillan looks like the real deal. Like I feel very good about my offensive rookie of the year pick. He just might not get the stats because he can't get the ball thrown his way. Any thoughts on the Jags and Travis Hunter? Because I know you maybe had your eyes on it today.
I was supposed to ride on it today, but the weather delay kind of ran out of time. Honestly, there wasn't that much to take away from it. Didn't play much on defense. I think buddy John Shipley said he only had 2 snaps on defense, or somewhere around there.
6 total.
Then he had 6 catches for 33 yards today, which is it was just a lot of slant stuff, a lot of screen stuff. I think the one time he was the target when Trevor threw it down the field. It was intercepted by J.C. Horn, but other than that, mostly a lot of short stuff. So we'll see what happens next week. I'm not sure if that's going to be like the plan for him for the whole season. If he's just going to stay in the slot and kind of be some of their short game guy, it'd be kind of cool to see them expand upon that, and I'm sure they will. But kind of a quiet first game for Travis Hunter. But hey, caught 6 of his 8 targets.
That's it.
Just for 33 yards. Just for 33 yards.
Yeah. It was a nice little ramp up, I guess. I thought the funniest part about all of that was we got the Sunday announcements. This guy's a healthy scratch. This guy's actually starting. It's like a holiday, before week 1, and then it was like Travis Hunter is going to play in the slot. It's like just like he did all preseason, and like he has been listed as the entire preseason. Like, yeah, thanks for the announcements about where Travis Hunter is going to play. I thought it was just kind of a single, he got on base today. It was nice to see. It's one of those I want to rewatch on film. There wasn't that maybe highlight play, but he's so gifted with the ball in his hands. He had one screen or something went over the middle. And then he kind of just like had some spin moves. Like you could just see his balance and everything. And it was pretty cool to see all that. But they also mentioned, I think it was Adam Schefter reported, that they're going to kind of change week by week what his usage is, which I think is interesting. Again, that's great ideas before week 1. We'll see what happens week 2, week 5, week 15. But it's one of the nice sub stories is Travis Hunter as the Jaguars win that game 26-10. Still figuring out that running back room, by the way. All right, low number 3. This is a double whammy. This is our expectations for you were low, but holy shit. The Dolphins and the Texans offensive line. What was that? What was that week 1? I'm gonna let you start with the Dolphins because I know you had a nice interesting statistics when you went and looked up that game and researched that game.
Oh man, yeah, I don't even know where to start. I do. The Dolphins offense in the first half. Basically the game was over at halftime. It was truly abysmal. They had run. They run 15 plays for 43 yards by the time halftime hit, averaging minus 0.63 EPA per play and minus 0.84 EPA per drop back. So usually when the Dolphins are having struggles like this, they try to call some play action and try to get themselves out of it and generate some big plays. But nope, in this game, 2 on play action, 5 dropbacks for 16 yards and a strip sack, and in general, had a 42.9% pressure to sack rate and was sacked on 11% of his dropbacks. Wow. I mean, it's just hard to say like this is anything else but a disaster. We were looking at this last week like, Colts are favored by 2.5. That's kind of interesting. But then they came out and blew the doors off of them. Daniel Jones had one of the best games of his career today. I mean, it was truly bad.
87.8 QBR from Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, my bingo card.
On the flip side, Tua's QBR today was 2.7. 2.7 out of 100. So basically what that means is if your quarterback played like Tua did today on an average football team, you would win 2.7% of the time. It was really bad. And like even the interception they threw to Laiatu, the edge defender they drafted last year in the first round, I was like, dude, like you had time to see that he was dropping back there before you fired that off. He has these games sometimes where, like I call them like he's the games where he's struggling with like object permanence, where it feels like he's playing 7-on-7. But no,
Yeah.
like, dude, there's 11 players in the field that you have to react to on the other side, and he's just kind of like going through the motions. Like, well, the play sheet says I'm going to throw here, and I'm going to throw it there, but the play sheet doesn't have 11 defenders drawn on it. Like, you gotta get back into it. These are live reps, so I always find it weird when he gets into like almost like a trance like that. But yeah, another terrible game for Tua.
Yeah, sub 40% dropback success rate. It just felt like how it felt last year, where it's just like it just doesn't have any venom to it. It's just like they're kind of going. It feels like the whole team's going through the motions, and they're just such a weirdly shaped team or weirdly built team. Like I got to rewatch like how the Colts did on offense. I kind of just kept glimpses on this game because I figured it'd be kind of mucky. But there's Daniel Jones with clean pockets, and I thought this Dolphins pass rush was going to be kind of pretty juicy. Like I thought that they were going to have some teeth, and it was just didn't look great. And it just again, it just does not feel like they just have anything cohesive right now. I'll get to my last one, the other side of this one, which was the Texans offensive line. And really, it was just I can just list some stats here. It just tells the story if you didn't watch this game. This is the Texans' allowed pressures by their offensive line. Jake Andrews, their center, allowed 4. Laken Tomlinson, their guard, who was allowed some of the most pressures last year in the entire NFL, allowed 4. Ariante Ursary, rookie second rounder, who I do like, allowed 4. Cam Robinson, who allowed most pressures among all offensive tackles last year in the NFL, allowed 3. But guess who gets a gold star? Titus Howard. 0 pressures allowed. Way to go, Titus Howard. But man, and it's not just pressures, quick QB pressures, which happened in 2 seconds or less, I believe. Jake Andrews allowed 1, which is terrible. Interior offensive lineman, that's crippling. Ariante Ursary allowed 2 of them. Cam Robinson allowed 1 of them. Woody Marks, rookie running back, allowed a quick QB pressure as well. This is just a team effort from the Texans in Houston. But this game was kind of, we figured might have some kind of like, it might be a fist fight, might be a rock fight. We talked about that in the preview show. We kind of thought these defensive lines might really control the game. And boy, did they. Both defensive lines controlled this game. So what'd you think about this game? We didn't really even talk about this one off air, other than just like, I just want to talk about the Texans offensive line.
No, I thought it was the Rams. That the only thing we had talked about was basically before halftime. Like, Rams could be a low, and then they scored the touchdown before half, and I thought their offense played a lot better than the second half. But man, the first half, it was tough sledding for them.
Yeah.
Where it didn't look like it kind of looked like, I guess, a lot of our worst fears for what this offense could have been this season. So it was nice to see them at least get back into some productive form and score in the second half. But even 14 points, I know that the Texans have one of the best defenses in the NFL, but when you make those investments into getting Devontae Adams and beefing up your offensive line, or at least extending guys, you should probably hope to score a little bit more than they did. But at least the defensive line showed up to play. And this is kind of like I don't think it really fixes any concerns that I had about the Rams defense potentially, because this is the kind of matchup that like these guys should dominate. Like the gap shooters that they have collected and guys who can really get upfield. Like these are the games that they're going to win against slower offensive lines. Maybe they'll struggle to stay in front of people, but I think when they get to some of the more competent units, they still have some stuff to prove about how they can play against the run and some of the heavier offensive lines. But it was good to see like a young unit start to take over this game and pull them across the finish line, because they had some really nice moments, I thought, as a pass rushing unit.
Yeah, like you said, this is the game they should have taken over, and they did, which is like, okay, I mean, this wide open AFC, I can't say it any more times. If you look into their own division, Kyler Murray was pressured left and right today. Brock Purdy was pressured left and right today. Sam Darnold struggles under pressure as well. So if you got a pass rush, it's going to keep you alive in this division. And the run game did its job. Jab, 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 jab. 25 runs, a long of 9 on the day, 25 to the run, or really 24 to the running backs. But the receiving game is just so explosive. It's just doubles and triples and doubles and doubles, all these stuff to Puka. Devontae Adams had some moments as well. What's his name? Jordan Whittingham. He had a nice punt return as well, but he's kind of like this new kind of auxiliary player for this offense. So, and if they didn't have that, they had a fumble late that they were about to score. I felt like the Rams really would have looked like the box score, the final score would have looked like the Rams really controlled it, like they felt like they did in the second half. But like you said, this is what the Rams formula is going to be this year. I feel like there's going to be a lot of these types of games. Texans are AFC South favorites. They're locked in pretty much by everybody. Consensus playoff team, more or less. So this is pretty impressive from the Rams side of the ball. Man, week 1, Charles. That was
Made it.
fun. We did it. Perfect break of games too. 8 in the morning, 4 afternoon. Like I love that because I like the quad box in the afternoon. I like doing my multi-view and everyone.
Yes, all four. All four, yes.
I know, but
I'm not missing
Panthers Jags kind of ruined my vibes a little bit. So I was acting like it didn't happen for a little bit.